Well, for some reason, we always seem to have the same goddamn conversation. Probably because the fucking Patriots go to the fucking Super Bowl every motherfucking year. With that being said, who's better, Tom Brady or Joe Montana? Oh, man. See, the problem with these two is it's not about what they accomplish. Well, for Patriots fans, it's about what Tom Brady accomplishes. You know what I mean? For Tom Brady guys, everybody who's super heavy duty into just math and shit. And I'm a math guy, I'm a numbers guy. Anybody who watches my videos on a regular basis, I'm a numbers type of dude. But there's an intangibility to Joe Montana. It's like Mike Tyson versus Ali, Anybody who watched Mike Tyson realizes there was a savagery to Mike that Ali didn't have. Like Ali had a will of iron, get nothing misunderstood. But Mike Tyson was a fucking savage. He was just brute force incarnate. He's what happens when a fucking unstoppable force meets an immovable object. That unstoppable force won every fucking time. He proved that object wasn't immovable. Now, Joe Montana, all right? The reason why I like him is because Joe Montana is a Pennsylvania boy. He was an Italian. And he was a Notre Dame guy back in the day. I'm Roman Catholic, just being honest. And I'm Italian, and I'm a Pennsylvania boy. And he grew up down the street from where my grandfather and grandmother are from. So, that being said, where my grandma's from anyway, out by Pittsburgh. Joe Montana is one of these individuals in history who nobody hates. Like, no one hates Joe Montana. No one. Like, even the guys who played against Joe Montana and lost, they realize something. Like, it's like, if you ever watched Iron Chef with Mario Batali, right? There's things that you don't, you can't be mad at the fucking dude when he wins, because he's feeding you wine the whole time and giving you samples of what he's cooking. It's a cool factor. It's a charm that just goes about him. All right. So Tom Brady has won 6 Super Bowls. We'll go to some numbers real quick, just because I know that we have to cover the numbers. It's important we cover the fucking numbers. It really is. All right. So these are Joe Montana's. And I apologize if this shit's little, but, I wanted to have it, like, to the point where I could, like, grab it on a screenshot, because you can't really download a Wikipedia page. Now, so he was... Oh, yeah, we can go like this. He was a 4-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, 8-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro, 2-time NFL Most Valuable Player, NFL Offensive Player of the Year, Burt Bell Award, Sports Illustrated, Associated Press Athlete of the Year twice, NFL Comeback Player of the Year, 1986, 2-time NFL Passer rating leader, and 2-time NFL Passing Touchdowns leader. Okay? And here's Tom Brady's highlights, okay? 5-time Super Bowl champion, 4-time Super Bowl MVP, 13-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first team, 2-time second team, 2-time NFL Most Valuable Player, 2-time NFL Offensive Player of the Year, NFL Comeback Player of the Year, Burt Bell Award, 1-time Associated Press, Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year, 3-time NFL Passing Yards Leader. All right. So, here is Joe Montana's Super Bowl career. His highlights, right? Most touchdown passes, 15. Most passing yards, most passes completed, most passes attempted, most wins as starting QB, most passes completed in a single Super Bowl, most passes attempted in a single Super Bowl, most passing yards in a single Super Bowl, most Super Bowl appearances, 7. Wait, actually, that's Tom Brady's. Yeah, and then here goes Montana. Montana won 4 Super Bowls and was the first player ever to have been named Super Bowl Most Valuable Player 3 times. He also holds Super Bowl career records for most passes without interception, 122 in 4 games, and the all-time highest quarterback rating of 127.8. Montana was elected to the Pro Bowl Football Hall of Fame in 2000, his first year of eligibility. Is there anything after that? Yeah. Montana holds postseason records for most games with a passer rating over 100 and is second in career postseason touchdowns, passes, 45, passing yards, 5,772 in games with 300 plus passing yards, six tied with Kurt Warner. He also tied Terry Bradshaw's record of most consecutive playoff games with at least 2 touchdown passes, though this record has been broken by Baltimore Ravens' Joe Flacco. In his 4 Super Bowls, Montana completed 83 of 122 passes for 1,142 yards and 11 touchdowns with no interceptions, earning him a passer rating of 127.8. Montana led the team to victory in each game and was the first player ever to win 3 Super Bowl MVP awards. Montana also held the record for most Super Bowl pass completions. And that is all the stuff I got on these 2. Because we can sit here and talk about stats, right? But let's talk about something else. There's a story that a lot of you young bulls probably never heard, right? Joe Montana was playing the Bengals in the Super Bowl, and he was down by like 5 points in the 4th quarter with like fucking 2 minutes to go. And he had to drive like fucking 50 or 60 yards. And he gets into the huddle and he looks up in the stands, and just for an instant, he catches John Candy. And John Candy was a big fucking deal. Like he was one of these like larger than life characters in fucking movies and shit back then. He's dead now. I recommend anybody fucking watch his movies because he was always funny and great and he was a spectacular guy. And he goes, "Hey man, look, that's John Candy." And the whole huddle fucking stops and looks up. He's in a fucking Super Bowl in the 4th fucking quarter. And he goes, "Hey, that's John Candy." And all the nerves and all the bullshit and everything just kind of melted away. They go, "Yo, man, Joe got this. Joe's good." And from then on, he was known as Joe Cool. He was the comeback kid. He was known as the comeback kid at Notre Dame. He was a hero for the NFL, legitimately. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I had to sneeze. Right, he was a fucking hero for the NFL. He was a guy who legitimately drove ratings and made a generation of fans love the sport. Not just for the sport, but because of who he was as a human being. Because of how cool he was. There's certain individuals who you just don't hate. And he happens to be one of them. He was one of these individuals who was larger than the game because he was a cultural icon of the day. Just one of those type of people who everybody wanted to be like, not because he was a champion, but because he transcended that. And Tom Brady is a great quarterback, all right? He is a legitimate, amazing quarterback. And he gets the job done in the same way that military members today get the job done, right? But there's not a lot of heroes left anymore. Like all those heroes that they had back in the day. You talk about Achilles and Hercules and fucking even like guys like Ulysses S. Grant and Patton and Schwarzkopf. These individuals don't exist anymore. They're just not around. Like, you can't have it when you're just being a professional and you're there to do a job. And that's what Tom Brady does. And he does it better than anybody else has ever done it. You know what I'm saying? So, Joe Montana, though, was a hero. He was a man who other men wanted to be. He was a man who little kids wanted to grow up to be. He was the type of person who led other individuals. Through his actions, through his emotions, through who he was as a person. Through his calm, he gave other people confidence. And it made him larger than life. There's a story of the Niners were on a roll, having a record season under Steve Young after Joe Montana left, right? And he was playing for Kansas City. And Kansas City sucked. I think it came into this game like 3-10 or some shit like that. It was awful, right? And everybody was talking shit about, Steve Young and how great he was and all this other shit. And Joe Montana stepped onto that fucking field and the game ended and it was like 42-3. And Steve Young, they asked Steve Young at the end of the game, they said, what happened? He said, I was on the field with a fucking god. We are but mortal men. And that's why Joe Montana will always be better than Tom Brady. Because sometimes you need your heroes and you need your legends in order to make the world a better place and your history to be a little brighter than your today. So you have something to reach for tomorrow. And this is Tom. Peace. Like, share, and subscribe. Later.